We are back with another Money Moves. Welcome, everybody. And if you're watching this pre-recorded, meaning you're catching us on our YouTube channel, I want to welcome you too and thank you for watching our show. Do us a favor, though. Show some love. Click that little subscribe button down below. Lots of love, right? And go ahead and click that little bell icon, too. That way you know when we've put out our new videos. And we do one every Tuesday, 10 a.m. Central, 11 o'clock Eastern, and whatever Pacific works out to be. I think that's 8 a.m. But join us and share with your friends as well. We're trying to get the word out there, especially with everything crazy going in the economy. We're talking about money, talking about how to make more of it, save more of it, grow it, and protect it. So I don't know about you, Wendy, but those are high priorities in my life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Especially now. And especially at my age. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm still young enough. I've got plenty of time. That's what everybody tells themselves. So, folks, what we're going to talk about today is actually how much money should you be saving, right? Because there's some numbers out there, and they're a little antiquated depending on what time frame you're looking at. Plus, has a lot to do with your age, to be all honest. So we're going to get started here in a minute. Do us a favor, share this with your friends. Say, hey, you need to catch this show. Here's the link, blackswanmoney.com, and we'll get started talking about saving money. How much should you save in just a few seconds? And we're back and we're live. So, Wendy, I forgot to ask you the famous question. How was your weekend?
It's amazing. What was my weekend? I think it was traveling home, right?
Yeah, there you go. There you go. So probably you're always on the road, so it's good stuff. But yeah, we just had a great trip to Mexico. Hopefully you got to catch our show last week. We were actually kind of live, kind of recorded from Mexico. We did a team trip with about 15 people. And that's actually a small trip for us. So the next one, I think we're going to do a cruise. So if you're interested in working with us part-time, DM us at either official Wendy Lee, Wendy Lee online or Black Swan Money online, and we'll figure it out and show you what we're all about on that too. But today,
a little bit of fun, just a little bit.
Oh, no. It was a lot of fun. I want to tell you right now, I'm all about working hard, folks, and you should be too, but life's short, live your best life. I'm all about playing hard. So make sure you work that in. So yeah, I think we paid for the trip for 5 people, something like that. So we got to bring their families and stuff. They were having a good time. So anyway, let's get started. Let's talk about saving. How much do you save? I don't know, Wendy. I mean, what do you think about that?
So I have always heard 20%, but I never knew anyone that saved 20%.
I was going to say, I've never heard 20%. I mean, before I got into this business, but okay. So keep talking.
I've heard it, but I literally know, anyone I talk to does not save except my multi-millionaire friends who only live on 10% of their income. Mm-hmm. But most people, right? And so I tried to save 10%. That's where I started. But I also tithe 10%. So I'm like, there's 20, right? And then you get older and older and older. And then I had this meeting with this guy, John Cleaver, and he told me what I would need saved up to have the retirement I want. And I was like, oh, I need a lot more than 20% at this point. What? I was talking to someone the other day and they were talking about implementing something new. One of my coaching clients. I love her, but implementing something new. And I'm like, how about you leverage what you have to the point that you can comfortably put away 20% of your income without thinking about it, then start adding to, right? Mm-hmm. But sometimes we're always trying to find the ways to make new money, which I am all about, multiple streams of income, but we've got to pay yourself first, like you teach. Right.
Yeah, exactly. And, it's really, and this is why when we built the company, the Turning Point Group, we created a holistic approach of building wealth, right? Because it's not just, and this is the thing that chaps me about so many traditional advisors out there. They look at, you got an old 401k, let's roll it over and I'm gonna grow it for you. But they don't get into the details on all the other stuff because it all ties together, folks. And, the question of how much should you save? I'd always heard 10%. right? And maybe that's because I was a poor kid growing up. It's like, okay, 10%, you're lucky if you can get that. And let's be honest, folks, most people, Main Street America, they're saving like 3% or maybe 5% of their 401k to get that match or whatever. Very few people are saving over that because we're a live for today society. And if that's not you, don't get upset. Don't get your, don't get triggered, right? I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the main people out there, because most of us are saving little, if any, money at all. We're living on credit cards, things like that. So a couple of concepts I want to talk about. We've already talked about pay yourself first. Okay. First of all, you got to make a conscious decision. Is your mortgage company more important than you? Mm. Secondly, are your credit cards, are they more important than your kids and their success? That's a trick question, or not really a trick question. The answer is obviously no, right? Now, what I'm not saying is don't not pay your bills. Pay your bills. Okay. You made a commitment, pay your bills. But you want to make sure you build a spending plan or a budget. I like to call it a spending plan, where you get first dibs. You pay yourself first. Okay. And that, when I say pay yourself first, I don't mean, okay, now I can have that boat I always wanted. Everybody else. No. I'm talking about your future self. Right. Yeah. And so you know about that, but it has to do with that. And obviously it has to do with debt. Right. Mm-hmm. I've shared my story that at one point in my life, I had $60,000 in unsecured debt. Not proud of it. Don't judge me. I was there. Many of you, are probably there or have been there. And I found somebody introduced me to a debt snowball or a debt stack. I got out of that in 3.5 years, just moving the money I was already paying around, because most people do it wrong. They pay a little extra on everything. And that is the worst way to pay off your bills, right? You want help on that? Let us know. We'll show you how to do that as well. So I got that debt out. What that did was freed up more money to now put towards paying myself first, right? And so then you've got your tithing or charity. If you don't attend a church or a synagogue or a mosque or anything, you've got your charity you may give to, and that's fine too. But what percentage you want to give of that? Tithing, that stands for 10%. But there may be a different amount for you, but you should pay it forward in some way, shape, or form in life. Life is short. You're here to, be a giver, not a taker. Mm-hmm. And so you look at that, and then it's like, okay, well, what's the right percentage? Is it 5%? Is it 10%? I can't do 10%. Should I even bother with? Yeah, start with 1. Yeah. Right. And chime in here. I'm kind of I'm on a rant today.
I read a book called Profit First, and he talks about, kind of what we talk about with the money split system, like putting percentage here, percentage there. Same thing with Secrets of a Millionaire Mind. He talks about the percentages you should put towards each thing. Right.
Yep.
But the thing I loved about Profit First is he's like, if you can't do these percentages, start with what you can do, and then every 3 months adjust 0.5% or 1%, right? And get yourself in the habit. So like when you and I started working together, I guess it was really 1.5 years ago, I implemented a strategy for money in retirement.
Yep.
I pay myself every month, right? And invest that way. And I started out at what I felt like I could do. And just recently I bumped it up. I didn't bump it up drastically. I bumped it up a little bit, right?
You gave your future self a pay raise.
I gave my future self a pay raise, and I bumped it up enough that like I feel better about it, but it wasn't like super painful, right? Yeah. I mean, it was literally what I bumped it up to is one time out with my kids, right? Mm-hmm. Out to eat with my kids a month. And I think like one thing that frustrates me as we've started working, it's not frustrating, but working with people and seeing people's spending plans, their budgets, where their money's going. And it's so easy to dismiss the future and just think it's all going to work out. Right. And find such a hard time. People look at their saving as a budget item. Like, I'm spending this every month. No, you're not spending this. You're saving it. Right.
You're creating an asset. You're not spending money. Yeah.
And it's like so hard for people to wrap their minds around sometimes. And because like you said, we live in that right now society, like Amazon Prime life, right? We want everything same day. And the truth is that to build the life that you want, you've got to sacrifice something today.
Yeah.
And
not a lot, but yeah, you got to sacrifice something.
But if I could go back and change one major thing in my life, it would be starting at 18 years old, saving money and making that the number one thing I do with my money every month.
Yep.
Like, I wish I could go back and do that.
I know. And I
want to wring people's necks and go, come on.
I know. Seriously. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, you're going to have to experience pain, folks. You can either have a little pain today by stacking that money away, and it's not an expense. It's actually you building your future wealth. Or you're going to have the pain tomorrow when you go to retirement, you can't physically work or want to stop working because you're just fed up of working, right? But you can't because you didn't put money away and you didn't give it time to compound, right? That growing, it's like planting a garden in March. You don't go out April 1 and where's my crop? No, you've got to let it grow. And that's what that time is. And the earlier you get started, the less you have to put in to have a bigger crop down the road. But, you look at what percentage is right for you versus me versus everybody. Well, number one, it has to do with your current situation, right? Where do you start? Okay. Well, you've got to start holistically. Like we said, what are your debts? What are you currently saving? And then you look at, what are my bills? A lot of people bought a house they couldn't afford. The housing market's kind of freezing up right now because the rates, jumped up dramatically. They're still very low. I remember when I bought my first house, it was at 8%, and that was with excellent credit. We're now at 6.7, I think. And, but we have a very short-term memory as Americans, and you got a lot of new home buyers that are younger, and they're thinking, well, rates have always been 2%. Oh my gosh, they're 3 times the normal rate. And that's not a normal rate. But anyway, you've got to look at your bills and things like that, right? But the point is you need to get started with, even if it's 1 or 2%, get started doing something. And like you said, keep gradually increasing it every 3 months, 6 months, or whatever. And, you look at your age group. If you're in your 20s, 10% is going to be a good place to start off. You're young, you're not making a lot of money, you still got bills and things like that. But then as you get older, when you're in your 30s, start looking at 20%. By that point, you should start having your finances under control. Okay. So when you get to your 40s, you should be creeping up to 30%. Okay. And then ideally, if you could get up to 40 or 50%, and people are like, oh my gosh, nobody ever saves that, right? Yeah, they do. The average savings rate across Europe right now is 25%. Wow. Here in America, it's like 3%. Yeah. Europe is 25%. You go to Asia, it's 50% from like day one. They save 50% of their income. Because think about it. You're going to work for 20 or 30 years, right? 30, maybe 35, not 20, unless you're building an app. But you're going to work for 30, 35 years, right? And you've got a certain lifestyle you like, you got a certain income level and things like that. You want to do stuff, but you can't because you got to work. Well, then you go to retire. Let's say you retire at 60, okay, or 65. We'll say 60 for easy numbers, right? I'm going to be retired for another 25, 30 years. So that's 25 or 30 years that you need to still have that same lifestyle, but you've got no income. So if you don't save enough money kind of coming up, you're never going to be able to retire. And don't buy into that BS line, you're going to spend less in retirement. That is the biggest crock of crap out there. And I'm going to be blunt. I wanted to say something else, but this is a PG show. Think about it. Retirement is like the most expensive day times 7, meaning Saturday. That's when everybody goes out and does stuff they want to do because they're off work, right? Well, every day is a Saturday in retirement. You're out there, you're gonna want to travel, right? Because you didn't get to do it because you had to be locked in that cubicle farm. Okay, so that's going to cost money. Not to mention your health probably isn't the greatest, right? Because you've been, we're a very sedentary society, right? And things like that. So maybe you didn't take care of yourself and you're just aging. So it's going to cost a little more there too. Plus, let's not forget inflation and the cost of living, by the way.
And grandkids, because when I have them, I'm going to spoil them.
There you go. Okay, grandkids too. So it's one of those things that, don't think that, it's going to be this, I have no debt or whatever. I mean, think about it. Even a car, your car is not going to last you 30 years in retirement. You're going to have to buy a new car every few years too, just like you do today. Repairs, things like that. So it's not this big all of a sudden savings. Yeah, you may have your house paid off. Whoop-de-doo. All the other expenses are still there. Taxes, insurance, the utilities, they're all still there. So there's not going to be this drastic decrease in your cost of living. So don't buy into that BS. So you start looking at, oh my gosh, what are the numbers that I need to do? And like when you said, the sooner you start, the better you're going to be long-term because you can start early. You've got more time, so you need less money. The longer you wait, meaning the less time you have, the more money you've got to kick in to have that lifestyle you want. And a lot of people we talk to, and Wendy, tell me if I'm wrong here, have no idea. They've never even thought of how much money they want to have coming in every month during retirement. And I'll tell you right now, Social Security ain't going to get it for you.
That's
this is
right.
where you chime in.
Yeah, no, it's good stuff. And I was thinking, And I know we're coming up on 15 minutes, so we'll wrap it up. But I was thinking about two scenarios. My friend this morning that I talked to, who's living the retirement of her dreams. She's in the Smoky Mountains right now with her kids and her grandkids. She surprised the grandkids by showing up with, her and grandpa, right? And she travels all the time, living life to the fullest with her grandkids and her kids, loving it. And then there was a girl at the UPS a woman at the UPS store yesterday who's probably the same age as my friend who's retired, living life wonderfully. And she's sweating behind the counter, worn out, telling me she can't find employees. She's managing the store. She's tired of working and there's nobody to help. And I'm like, man, looking at those two, which life do I want?
Yeah. And that's it exactly. Which life do you want? Decide your pain. You'll notice the folks that they have working at Walmart, and we're not getting into all that, but it's the greeters, right? Typically they're older people, right? I've yet to see any of them actually smiling and saying, hey, welcome. Maybe once in a blue moon just because they're a chipper person, but most of those people are miserable because they don't want to be there.
Right.
They don't want to be there, right? They want to be fishing or they want to be hanging out with their grandkids like you talked to. They want to be taking a nap in the middle of the day. I mean, there's a whole lot of stuff. And you've got to make a decision today what you want your future to look like. And I'm not talking the next couple of years. I'm talking down the road. Yeah. And you're young and healthy now, or you're middle-aged and healthy now, and you're working, you're able to bring in an income. Now's the time to start stacking dollars, stacking cash, so you can enjoy your life later on. And, if you need help on that, obviously, if you mention the show, we'll give you a free financial plan. Do something with it or not. It's up to you, but get the plan. Don't try to guess. It's not going to just work out, right? Take action, take control of your life and make it happen. So that's it for me, Wendy. I don't know if you've got anything else to add.
Yeah. Like take action. Let's get a plan together. Let's build a life that you want.
Let's do it, folks. Wake up. Smell the coffee. It's time to get wealthy and build wealth for you and your future self. So everybody have a great day. Again, click that little subscribe button down below. Click the bell so you know when we're here, and show some love. Share this with your friends. Share it on your Facebook page. It really helps our algorithms and stuff like I can't even say the word. But it really helps out with the YouTube and all that stuff. But again, make some money moves in your life. We'll see you next week. Have a great